Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over the Midwest Industries handguards here for your Yugo pattern rifles. So this is the NPAP rifle that you've seen throughout the review so far. They're also going to fit just fine on your OPAPs as well as many of your M70 variants out there. They make them for a ton of different rifles out there. They also make, these type of handguards that we're going to show you today for your standard AKMs, I believe your Krinkhoff pattern rifles, and several others out there. So if there's an AK pattern rifle, there's a high probability they make them for that. But what we're going to do today is take a close look at them, let you know what I think of them overall. First and foremost, they are a high quality product here made in the US. They're made of 6061 aluminum, and they're type 3 hard anodized, so real durable finish on there. And we've had several different versions of these handguards on several different AKs that you've seen on the channel over the years, so I have a good bit of experience with them, and they do work well, no doubt about it. They're a solid platform, good for running optics, and really just good for improving the ergonomics of your AKs, especially if you want to add accessories on there. But without any further gabbing from me, we'll take a closer look at them up close and personal and let you know some of the details of them. The handguard's a two-piece system. You have your lower handguard here, and then your upper handguard. You have a little piece here that works for the installation to clamp onto the barrel, which we'll show you here in a second. And your top cover can either be an optic-specific one, like we've been using throughout the review here, that works with Aimpoint T1, H1 type accessories, which also works with the primary arms microdot that you've seen here throughout the review, and other Vortex products, others out there as well. So those are out there. We have on the bottom our KeyMod slots, as well as different quick detach sling mounting points on each side. So here, and there's that top piece that I was talking about. And you also have your quick detach sling option right here up front. And they mount on there pretty simple, which we'll show you again here in just a second. And we'll also check the weight as well. With both the top and lower piece on there, as well as the hardware, it comes in just under 11 ounces. The first step in the installation is to add your lower handguard. And when you put your lower handguard on there, when you start the screws here in just a second, which we're going to show you, you're going to want to make sure that your handguard, this rail here, this section, that flat section, is flat with your lower receiver and flush with it. It's not canted, because if you do, that'll really make the entire system canted, and especially if you're running an optic, it'll really throw your windage elevation adjustments off. So you want to make sure that's on there. You can't really do it until we start torquing down the screws, but I just wanted to make mention of that first. You're going to put this piece on right here to clamp your barrel down, and on each of those screws, you're going to want to put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. They do include some. I have the 242 that I'll be using, and we're just going to tighten down, working across sort of an X pattern as you do so. Once you get the handguard hand tight here, where you can kind of move it around a little bit, you're going to want to double check and make sure that we're flush, and then tighten the screws down. Next up, we're going to install our gas tube here, just as you would on any other regular AK. Once you get it in place, we're going to tighten it down here real quick. And all right, gas tube's in. And now there's these two tensioning screws here on each side, and you're just going to hand tighten those. Blue Loctite has been applied to those as well, guys. So we're just going to hand tighten these down, and what that's going to do is keep your gas tube from sort of wobbling around, and make sure that that handguard is just as stable as can be on there. Time to put the top cover on. If you have an optic that you want to use on there, you want to put that on ahead of time. So we're going to snug that down through the screws on the bottom here. If you're using that, we're just doing this for demonstration purposes here, but you're going to put it on like that. You want to make sure your holes are lining up there. They can be just a little bit off, and you just want to kind of snug it down there. It's meant to be sort of tight on there, so you just give a good push and they will line up as you see there. Install our screws again with a little bit of blue Loctite. We're just going to use a crisscross pattern going across the 4 screw holes adding tension a little bit as we go. Once we snug these two down, you're pretty much finished. You can add any KeyMod accessories that you want at this point. We're going to add some rail panels on here that you've seen throughout the review. These are going to do a pretty good job at minimizing the heat that's coming off of there. Keep in mind, any AK handguards that you have on there are going to take some heat because that barrel and gas tube do get hot. And this will help sort of minimize that. You could add any sort of light mounts or anything like that that you want on there, and you're just going to slide those in, tighten them down. And they have those that you can add all around. I think they come in like a 3-pack or something like that. And they also make these little hand stops that we've been using here throughout the video, which are really convenient, particularly on AKs. They give you something to grab onto, a little bit more purchase. And when you're running AKs, you don't want to have something long sticking out because that can impede mag changes. So this really is kind of a perfect little profile accessory to add on there. So that's how they install, and that's how you install accessories on them as well. The KeyMod system, as you guys know, is something I like. I have a lot of different handguards in there, both for ARs and AKs at this point in that pattern. It seems like a really good system, at least in my opinion. It seems to be quite strong, lightweight, and like I mentioned, does a good job of venting that heat. So that's something I like as well for sure. These ones here, the big question, a lot of folks are always considering, do I get the Ultimac or these? I have both. You've seen both here on the channel. I still use both on different rifles, so they both work well. The advantage of these is that it gives you the complete handguard, so you can run, like I said, the vertical foregrips, the hand stops, lights, lasers, etc., as well as the optic on the top. So that sort of is the advantage of it. A lot of your optics, like the primary arms and the aim point variants, will give you the lower 1/3 or lower 1/4, depending on the optic. Co-witness, you can still use your iron sights, which is a good thing. And the debate between this and the Ultimac oftentimes will come down to accuracy, and folks will say this being clamped onto the barrel upsets your barrel harmonics. And just, from my experience shooting, I can tell you I absolutely agreed with that, and I thought, well, let's test it out and see what we actually see for a difference. So what I did is I took the optic off, which is why the optic's off now, went out and shot a few groups with a side-mounted rail and a magnified optic on there at 100 yards. And what I found over 3 different groups with 3 different ammos, both with it on and then just completely took it off, so it was running with no handguard at all, is that we saw on average about a 3/4 inch to about a 1/2 inch increase in accuracy, or decrease in accuracy, excuse me, with them on. So, real world with this rifle with communist Wolf ammo, we saw from about a 2.5 to 3 inch group go to about a 3 inch to 3.5 inch group. That again with magnified optics. Now, what I would tell you is, practically speaking, with shooting just the irons or shooting the aim point or the primary arms on there, I saw better accuracy with the red dot with me behind the gun. So inherent accuracy, you may lose a little bit with it. Practical accuracy, you'll probably gain a little having that optic. Now, if you don't have the optic on there, you're not going to see that increase. But it is a capability that this handguard and rail system, if you will, offers. So something to keep in mind there. All in all, though, good products, and they're under $150 is where they start at. And if you start adding accessories, the cost is going to go up a little bit, but certainly reasonably priced and made 100% in America, which we always like as well. But if you guys have any questions about this, anything else we discussed in the review that I forgot or left out and didn't mention, you can always post below in the comment section. You can also post over at my Facebook page as always. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.